I've been a doctor now since 1996. Did my internship in 1997 at a place called Baragwanath Hospital in Johannesburg in a township called Soweto. I moved from Johannesburg to London, so straight from a relatively small town to London. And I'm going to share with you some amazing stories from my time in London. That is where I grew as a doctor. That is where I trained as an anaesthetist. That is where I trained as a pain specialist. That is where I met my amazing wife, and Melbourne, Australia is now home. So I've seen medicine, and I've lived in 3 countries: South Africa, the UK, and now Australia. And I'd like to share with you some of my stories, and hopefully it'll give you some insights. Hopefully it will show you that you're not alone in this bumpy ride. Hopefully it will let you feel a little more settled about where you're at, because you're probably at a place that is rocky. You're probably at a place that is bumpy. And one of the things that you don't get taught about in medicine is that medicine is messy. It is not clean science. Medicine is not something that is, excuse the pun, cut and dry. Having your appendix out is fine. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a technical thing that happens. But most of medicine is not. And practicing as an anaesthetist for many years, and now practicing as a pain specialist for many years. I was an anaesthetist, then I was both, and now I'm a pain specialist. Medicine is truly messy. There is no fine path from diagnosis to treatment, broken to fixed. It doesn't matter what medical condition you've got. And that's the thing that I'm finding quite tricky, particularly as I'm getting a bit older. Let me give you an example. Okay, I've thought of something. You might have seen this earlier, but let's talk about it now. Death. Let's talk about death. That is the thing you don't really think about when you're younger, and as you get older, you think about it a little more. You think about it a little more when you've got family. Some of us are around death quite a lot, some not. Medicine can truly bring you down. Watching people die around you is hard. You take on board the death that you see. I've done this before in a previous video, but I'll do it. I'm going to do it again. When I did it before in a previous video, I felt somber. When I did it in that previous video, I was in just a down in the dumps place, and it was reflected in that video. So let's talk about that first patient of mine that died. I can remember him clearly. I know his name. I'm not going to share it with you. I was an intern. We used to drive into Baragwanath Hospital and park behind the wards, and the wards were flat and big, so prefab wards. And every morning we would drive in, and around about 7 o'clock, the nurses would be doing a handover, and they used to sing hymns. It was amazing. It was an amazing time for me. We had friends. We were just new doctors, so how hard could it be? Anyway, I remember this guy. Let's call him Ben. And I used to see Ben every morning, and he was sitting outside with his other ward patients, and they would sit outside, drink tea, sometimes have a cigarette, and they would just be jovial. This was for the ward patients that were in hospital and obviously well enough to go outside. And I would see him every day, and he came in with some kidney condition. And over a number of weeks, he just slowly got a little worse and a little worse and a little worse. And I remember that morning we arrived on a ward round. We were going on our ward round, and I'd arrived early to get prepared for the ward round because we work really hard as interns. And he wasn't sitting outside, and I thought, oh, that's a bit odd. And we went on our ward round, and then we got to the ward that I was working on, And I saw, we stopped at Ben and we checked his notes, and he didn't look well. He didn't look well at all. And it was the first time I think I'd really seen a really sick person, because this was somebody I'd grown to know over time. As a medical student, you don't generally get to know people, but as a doctor, and depending on the type of medicine you do, you'll get to know people. And he was really sick, and I was alarmed and I was worried about him, and I had my list of tasks to do for him, which was given to me at the bedside, and we moved on to the next person and so on. And about 20 minutes later, my alarm, my pager went off, and it was a cardiac arrest. So we all rushed back to his bed, and it was Ben, and he'd had a cardiac arrest. And I'm an intern, I'm a doctor, but I don't know very much. So we all got together, we all did what we needed to do and started our advanced life support, so CPR. Somebody took the airway, somebody did breathing, somebody did chest compressions, and the consultant, the physician, the attending directed the resus. And I was told to go and get the resus trolley, so the defibrillator. Got in, got the defibrillator, got it ready, turned it on, and it didn't work. The defibrillator didn't work, and we couldn't defibrillate him, and he died. And I felt gutted by this. I was absolutely broken by this. I couldn't show it because I had to just dust myself off and get on with the next task of the day. But it was really difficult, and it affected me for a long time. And I've got a picture of him in my mind today, to this day. I remember his name, and it's imprinted on me, and I will never forget it. And he was young, and he had 2 kids. And I wonder if we'd been able to help him and save him if, well, things would have been different, and how different they would have been. And that's just something I have to carry with me. And I know it wasn't my fault, but I feel responsible. And that's the thing, as doctors, we feel responsible. Some of us more than others. So yeah, medicine is messy. It's not all fun and games. It's hard work. One of the things that medicine has stopped me from doing, and this is something I'm a little upset with myself over, is it stopped me from growing in other parts of my life, because you are so focused on being a doctor, and it is so time heavy that you're unable to do some other things. But interestingly, I'm now in my 50s, and I'm doing things I should have been doing in my 20s and 30s. I hope I've still got some time to get this stuff done, and I'm really thoroughly enjoying myself now. Why am I sharing this story with you? I don't know. Well, no, I do. Whoever you are, wherever you're watching this, just be aware that you're not alone. Just be aware that despite things sucking for you at the moment, you'll get through this. And if you're not sure how, just reach out below and let's start a discussion, because there are ways through this. I know that medicine is messy, but medicine can be incredibly inspiring as well. I'll see you on the next one.